Pull these lists right now in 2023. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And in today's video, we're going to tell you the top list to be pulling that most wholesalers right now aren't doing. So if you want an unfair advantage in wholesaling real estate right now, these 7 lists are going to give you the unfair advantage in your wholesaling real estate market. The reason why you want to use hot lists right now that other wholesalers aren't doing is because for every hour or 2 hours you get, you're going to get more leads than the average wholesaler. So for example, for the average wholesaler on a regular, let's say high equity list, they might have to pull 4,000 or 5,000 leads and call them. But if you use a list that's not really saturated at all, it might take you 1,000 or 2,000 of those leads, literally doing 5 times less work to get that same wholesaling deal. When there's less people fishing, that means you can have more fish.
The first list we identify is the high equity vacant list. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It means homeowners that have a lot of equity, which means if the home was worth $100,000 and they only got like a $20,000 mortgage, that would mean they have 80% equity. And that's what we mean by that. We also add the additional filter of being vacant. Now, if you're saying, Rick, how do I pull this list? It's actually really simple. Go over to listrei.com. You can get a 7-day free trial period. And on that, you basically look for high equity, and they actually have a predisposed filter on that. And then what you can just add to it is basically that it's vacant. And what happens is there's thousands of properties across the country that people bought and they don't live there. And either they were going to rent it out, possibly use it as a second home. It might be a short-term rental, anything. And time and circumstances change, expenses go up. And the idea is to strike them and find out if there's an opportunity for you to buy the home. Now, the really cool part is this list, if you hit them at the right time, they're not as emotionally attached to it because they don't live in the property. A lot of people buy these properties. I like the ones that own between 1 and 3 because they got into it thinking they make a ton of cash flow on a rental, short-term or long-term, and they find out tenants can be a headache. And those are the people that usually give you the best deals because it's not what they signed up for. The people own 4 or more, they tend to be professional investors, landlords, and you're going to have a harder time with them. So the sweet spot is high equity. How much high equity? Listen, I like 40% or more, but play around with the filters, make sure they're vacant. I would have them own the property at least 2 or 3 years. I think 3 years or more is the sweet spot. And then get this list. It's highly targeted. It's kind of like a stacked list because they've got plenty of equity in it. It's vacant. And honestly, if the place is sitting and not earning any money, this is the best opportunity to reach out to these types of sellers.
Exactly. And the next list here is the evictions. Guys, you can actually go to your local courthouse right now and get a list of all the evictions going on in your city or county. Think about this. You're going to get a list of people that are kicking tenants out and they're probably just want to get rid of it. They're done with the headache of dealing with these type of tenants. They probably trashed the house. They had to literally get a court order to get the person out. That's how difficult that tenant was on the property. There's going to be a really good chance you call them up and see if they're looking to sell that property. They're just going to say, you know what, cash, I'm out, I'm done. The truth is most people just click the tired landlord list on PropStream and be like, oh, I did my best. No, you're going to get a government list. This is an eviction list. All you have to do is go to all of the court records for evictions, find the owner of that property, call them up, skip trace them, and see if they're looking to sell their house. It's a stupid, simple list that will get you a ton of wholesaling deals because most wholesalers aren't doing them. And the wholesalers that are calling and texting and marketing to these lists are actually getting wholesaling deals.
Okay, the next list is going to be part of your government list program. And specifically, you're looking to go down to the county courthouse, your local county courthouse or whatever county you're doing investing in. And you're looking for the pre-foreclosures. This is basically when the bank has filed a notice to start the foreclosure process because somebody didn't make a payment. And if you can find the ones that are in probate as well. So once again, we're kind of stacking this list, but this is, remember, the more pain points you have, the higher the probability of working with a motivated seller. Like, wait a minute, Rick, how can somebody be in probate? Probate is a court act when somebody passes away that the courts wind up their final affairs, stocks, bonds, real estates, boats, cars, whatever it is. And it allows you to legally transfer the title of the property of the deceased person. Now, when the person passes away, a lot of times people stop making the mortgage payment. So these properties can actually wind up in pre-foreclosure. And honestly, it is probably one of the best opportunities you'll ever have to take over a deal like this, do a creative financing deal. Guys, it is endless. When the probates go and somebody passes away, somebody needs to pick up that mortgage or get that house liquidated and sold. So obviously, if they're not paying it, it probably indicates a bigger problem. And that's where you as the wholesaler can reach out and create a win-win situation to help out the seller, to save equity within the estate, and to stop a foreclosure and having the house taken away where they get nothing. Guys, these are great opportunities, but you got to reach out and you got to take a chance and connect with these types of sellers. So it's a simple process pulling it. You actually have to go down to your county courthouse. Now, the good news is both these lists are in the same courthouse. So you're going to have a county courthouse. Wherever they do foreclosures, it is a public record. So that list is going to be really easy and a no-brainer. The probate is going to take a little bit of persistence from you to overcome the resistance. And you're going to have to ask politely, if you're not familiar with the probate process, on how to pull up all the probates in the last 30 days that are open. And then what you do is once you get that list, you need to find what we call the PR, which stands for personal representative, or the executor. Once you have that list, you're going to cross-reference the deceased person's name and see if they own a piece of property within that given county. Once you find that, you can do a skip trace on them. And what you're not looking up the deceased person, you're looking up the PR, which you pulled off the probate record. I know there's a lot of information, but once you have that information, you just pick up the phone and call them and see if there's interest. And I also recommend sending them a letter. We have a probate letter we offer with inside of freewholesaling.com, and you can take full advantage of it. Guys, this is like a 1-2 punch that works out really well, because a lot of people aren't looking for these types of properties, and you need to have some pre-foreclosure knowledge, which we teach you in detail at freewholesaling.com, and you have to understand how the probate process works. It is a win-win at freewholesaling.com. Let's show you how to get it going.
The next list here are digital Bandit signs. Seriously, you've probably heard me talk about it a million times already, and you aren't still doing it. Why not? You are literally posting Bandit signs on the internet for free. You are literally going to Facebook groups, you're going to Craigslist, you're finding groups with tens of thousands of people locally, and you're letting them know that you and your partner are looking to buy some houses for cash. I swear to you, you can use AI, ChatGPT, create the ad copy, and just consistently post on those platforms. You, with no money at all, will get wholesaling deals. We literally teach you how to do this in my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. It is seriously a no-brainer for you to get started in wholesaling, to start getting deals that are literally inbound, no calling, no texting, no payment at all, with the use of digital Bandit signs.
So the next list is code violations. And this is a list that's never going to change. I'm telling you, I did it from day one. I still do it up to today. Why? Because it works. And honestly, as long as the city enforces these codes, and simply in layman's term is when someone lets their house get out of whack, meaning they let the grass go high or they board up all the windows and they never take them off, the city wants you to be in compliance, and they have some basic rules for some common decency in the neighborhood to keep values aligned. Once you go outside of that, they put a notice on the door, and if you don't comply within 30 days, they can actually enforce a lien, hire a lawyer, and basically impose up to $100 fine a day. That adds up. If years go by, the fine can be excessive, and it's up to the homeowner to resolve the issue. It's not up to the city to resolve it. So code violations is like a cheat sheet, because you know these properties already have problems, and if you identify these properties that already have problems, you simply cold call them, SMS text, however you want to attack it. To me, it's one of the straightest lines to find a motivated seller. Nobody purposely lets their house get out of order. It's usually a financial situation, some sort of pending family problem. And remember, we're here to create win-win situations. Now, how you pull this list, let's talk about it. Code violations is a highly requested list, and the cities know this. So it's usually kept at your city, at your local city office, and there's also sometimes a county office along with like the building permits. Focus on the city first, and you're going to have to go in there and just kill them with kindness. This is typically where they're going to have building permits and any type of permitting situation. They're being buildings, whatever it is, garage sale permits, it's all within this department. It might be tied to the police department in that same building. It's just a commonality I've noticed over the many markets we do. Now, when you get this list, you're going to get some resistance. I told you this up front. So if you go in person, you'll do much better than as opposed to on the phone, because it's hard to turn down people in person. And befriend the person behind the counter just like you're treating them like a motivated seller. Use their pictures, their dog pictures, their kids' pictures. And remember, they're just employees doing their job. They are told to try to avoid giving out that list. Now, if you learn me and Zach's methods to overcome resistance, you must be persistent. You have to overcome 2 no's. Just be nice with them. You cannot sit there and demand to do FOIA requests. You're not going to get anywhere. And even if you do, it's going to be a year behind. So kill them with kindness. You might not get every list, and sometimes you got to recircle the wagons, but go in and get these lists, because when you get these lists, you have an unfair advantage over every other investor. And once you crack the code to get this list, it's usually pretty easy to get it going forward. You just got to overcome that initial resistance. Guys, code violations, they are phenomenal, and I don't really see them changing in the near future.
No, they're hot. A lot of new wholesalers are using them, and they're getting a ton of motivated sellers and deals from that list. Next here is a tried and true one. reverse drawing for dollars. There is so many wholesalers getting their first deal, heck, their 100th deal from just doing reverse drawing for dollars. Reverse drawing for dollars is as simple as you think it is right here. You go in your car, you look for ugly houses, and you just slap sticky notes on those properties, and you let people know that, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about your property, please give me a call back. You get a big response rate. It's actually a way better response rate than direct mail, SMS, or really any other cold calling at all. It literally gets you inbound seller leads on top of one of the best lists you can possibly pull, drawing for dollars leads, so you can get wholesaling real estate deals. The honest truth is most wholesalers aren't doing this. They think it's too much work. They think it's too scary. They don't know what to say when somebody calls. You go to Wholesaling.com, I show you what to do. Somebody says, hey, I just got to stick it on my house. Hey, me and my partner Rick, we're actually looking to buy some houses in the area. I drove by it, looked like something I wanted to buy, or you looking to sell it. Boom, that's it. The fear of you reverse drawing for dollars is non-existent anymore. Stop worrying about it.
Okay. And last but not least is tax delinquencies. And guys, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's people who have not paid their property taxes, and how property taxes work, they're first in line above everybody else, even the IRS. So when a tax bill comes due and you don't pay it, you get a certain amount of months allotted. Listen, every county and state's different, so I'm not going to talk about specific states, but after a certain amount of time, usually after like 120 days, the city and the county, they want their money. They got to fund the roads, the police departments, the fire departments, and the schools, and they can't finance it. So what they do is they issue, when it goes into delinquency, it goes on a special list. The sweet spot's when they're delinquent. Now, if they get too delinquent, it goes to what they call a tax certificate sale. That basically means someone buys that certificate so they can fund the taxes. It doesn't mean they own the property. Honestly, it doesn't even give them first right. It just gives them an interest rate, and they have the ability to foreclose X amount of months down the road, usually on average 18 to 36 months, depending on what region of the country you are in. Now, tax delinquency, it is a motivator because most people want to pay their property tax and don't want to pay penalties. Every month you're late, it's going to cost you more money in penalties and interest. So I want to find people that are behind on their tax bill. Now, the sweet spot is someone that's behind like 1 year, maybe 2 years, because here's the outcome. If they don't pay that bill, they will lose the house to auction. It winds up going to an auction sale because the tax certificate owner forecloses and it goes in the regular foreclosure auction. Nobody wants that. And honestly, a lot of these are paid free and clear. So listen, when someone's not paying their taxes, it just means they have a cash flow shortage. You're not looking for like the wealthy people who finance their houses. Maybe they got a $40,000 tax bill and they're waiting a year to pay it. That's not your target. You still want to target at or below the average median price in your market. You want to buy properties that are not owned by the county because most people don't want those properties. So here's how you get the list. This is the sweet spot. You're going to have to go down to your county property tax appraisers, and next to it, they're usually going to have like a DMV tied into it, and you're looking for the county tax collector. So you got to find your county tax collector. It's best if you go in person and say, listen, I need to get the most updated tax delinquencies for whatever county you're in. So if you're in St. Lucie County, Pinellas County, whatever it is, and go in. Once again, you're going to get some resistance on this because they don't give the list out to everyone. Now, it should be public data because you as a taxpayer fund it, you pay your property taxes, you need to know who else pays your property taxes, but getting that list is somewhat of a challenge, and you're going to have to overcome multiple no's, and you're going to have to kill them with kindness, just like I taught you with the code violations. It's the same thing, but remember, you're going down to your county tax collector and you're going to nicely request this list, and it's going to take you some time, and you're definitely going to have to woo over some people to get this list, but once you get it, you'll have to get it once, and then you attack this list. And I'm telling you guys, this list is large, and then what you can do is sort it. Now, in the perfect world, you get it as CSV file or an Excel file, but occasionally they'll give you it in a PDF. Don't worry, just get the list first, and then you can have other people help sort the information out. And you want to find the people that it's non-county owned and someone that's 1 or 2 years behind on their taxes at the average median price. Rick, how am I going to figure out the average median price? They usually put what they call the TAV on these lists, which stands for tax assessed value. And you can use that as a rough filter to make sure you're not sending this to like multi-million-dollar properties. Guys, tax delinquencies, here's a little tidbit on it. Tax delinquencies, they're good at avoiding the mail, and they're really good at avoiding the phone too. Now, you can still cold call them, but honestly, like a reverse driving for dollars techniques works probably the best for this. I love tax delinquencies because it's one of the highest motivations, because if they don't take action, they will lose their house to a foreclosure. Don't overlook this list.
So those are the top 7 lists right now you need to be pulling. Guess what? You're probably not pulling it right now. I can guess it. So guess what you need to do? Get your butt to work and start pulling this list. If you want to learn how to pull these lists, just go to our free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
Have a blessed one.
See you guys.